Alright, what I'm trying to do here is help anybody out who's trying to install a Lowrance Elite 4 HDI fish finder chart plotter combo. And I'm going to try to help you out with the power, getting the power to the unit, routing the transducer wire and installing the transducer, and then which wires you hook up to where. I'm by no means an electrician, but I've done a little research and I believe I've figured out the correct way, so we'll go ahead and start. So this power cord obviously plugs into the back, into the red, but you'll have two wires coming off of two larger wires that house multiple wires each. So all these wires right here that you see, unless you have some kind of high-speed radio or cool radio or cool electronics that you want to collect data and send data to like the Coast Guard, you don't need those. So I personally don't. So what I'm going to do is just tape all these up and protect them in case one day I win the lottery and can afford some kind of cool extra accessories for data. What I'm going to be concerned with are these three wires here. The yellow, as you'll see in the little diagram that comes with the Lowrance, they labeled it as NC. I believe that means no connection. Regardless, from what I've read online, guys aren't using this yellow wire, so I'm going to tape it up. So what I'm really concerned with are these two wires here. So my red is going to be obviously my power, and then my black is going to be my ground. Okay, and I'm going to show you in a second how we're going to hook these up. Alright, the first thing you're going to want to do is come back to your battery and unhook everything. You don't want to short anything out while you're working on it. So, but if you look back here, what you'll likely have, or what you should have, is from your positive, you should have one large wire going to your engine, and then one smaller wire that's going to power all your accessories that are on your console. And you'll have the same thing on the other side for the ground, for the negative. It'll be the one larger wire to the engine, the one smaller to the accessories right there. And if you'll look, your positive should have a fuse on it. Alright, and this is one of the older style glass fuses. It's in a housing. I'll show you real quick. If you can see right there. Now I'd recommend, if you don't have a fuse on there, to put your one on there. But regardless, you ought to have one, and just check for it once you're back here. You might as well fiddle with it while you're fiddling with it. And so anyways, once you got it disconnected, what I'd recommend is you trace this wire right here, that's your accessory wire, and figure out where it's going up into your console at, because that's where you're going to hook your positive to, up under your console, because your fish finder is not going to come with a wire that's long enough to reach your actual battery. You're just going to have to put it on up there at the console. So once your battery is unhooked, trace that wire all the way up to the console. I'll meet you up there. Alright, so we're going under the center console on this Carolina Skiff. It's a 19 DLX. And what you'll see is a bunch of confusion if you're not used to looking at it. But once you trace that positive from the back, the positive accessory wire, you ought to be able to find where it is up under here. Now in these skiffs, it's going to hook in right up under here to this board right here, this panel right behind all the switches. Alright, so what you want to do is make sure you connect your fish finder to the power source before it ever gets to these switches. That way, here, let me see if I can't show you. It's hard to see, it's kind of faded gray, but that's it right there. And so what we're going to do is use one of these little clamps that we got from the little connectors I got from Walmart. I'll show you in a second. And we're going to connect to our power right here, our positive. That's our little red wire. And then what I'm going to do for the negative, you can hook it to any of the ground wires under here. And so I'm going to look over here, and the easiest one for me to find is my horn. And my horn's got the ground coming right off of it right here. So that's where I'm going to hook my negative at. My ground wire right there with the horn. You can ground it because that ground's all connected up under here. So we'll show you in a second how we use those clamps. Alright, so run to the store and pick you up some quick connectors. And if you want splices, Walmart had this pack that came with both for like $6 and some change, so I went ahead and picked it up. And what it's going to come with is your quick connects, and that's these baby blue ones right here. And your splices are going to be these two right here. This one right here ain't going to fit around my main wire, my power wire, so I won't be able to use it. Use the smallest one you can. That way your connection's a little tighter. But for this purpose, I'm going to use this baby blue one. So once I go up under there, under that center console, what I'm going to do is put that power wire that's already up under there through this end right here that you can see all the way through. I don't know if you can see that, but you're going to put it right there through that end. And then you're going to take the end of the fuse that comes with the fish finder, go ahead and install that, push it all the way down in there, and you're going to close this top on it. So what you're going to do is put the end of this in that other side of this little clamp. See, it only goes on one side. That side's kind of blocked up. That side's a little deeper. So you're going to stick it down in there. You're going to pinch this closed, this little metal piece with pliers. And then you're going to bend this over the top and close it. And that locks it together. And that allows the power to still go to all your accessories on the dash. And you can just clip into the power source right there and add you an extra accessory. So I'm going to put all this together and show you how it works. Up under the console on this end. Now, if you go to the other end, you're going to have this end of the fuse wire that needs to go to your actual head unit, the fish finder. And so these two will connect together like this, and you can do one or two things. It comes with these little clear deals where you put both of them up in there and crimp it. Or you can just, if you got these, put one at each end and then crimp them on and connect them together. And that fuse will protect it from overloading once you put the fish finder into action, which it shouldn't, but that fuse will protect it. So I'll meet you up under there once I get all this put together. Alright, we're back up under the center console here, and there's my power in over there at the extreme right side of that panel, and that wire's turned gray. I'll be coming back around. Here it comes right here, and right down here is where I connect it. So if you'll look, I've got that gray wire, used to be red, running right through that little quick connect, and I put this side of the fuse into it, and I've clamped it down with the metal and then closed that little cover on it. So that's what it should look like. It's a little bit frustrating up under the console to work. It's real tight. That's what it should end up like. Now that end will be dangling right now, because what you want to do is wait until you have that transducer wire run up through here before you run the power wire down, because you can't fit it through the hole you're going to drill in the top of your console if you do this first and run the wires down and go ahead and connect them. So leave that dangling right there. And then over here, go ahead and put you one of the blue connectors on the negative. So that's my ground. I'm using the horn like we said earlier. And so I went ahead and prepped and put the blue one on, the blue connector, quick connector, same type, on my negative ground. So when I come down with it, I'm going to splice this side right here and connect the ground right over there. Alright, the next thing we're going to be concerned with is routing that transducer wire. And what you want to make sure, when you see your transducer, you'll understand. Here it is right here. So here's the blue end. And it's going to be much smaller than the actual transducer itself. So you're going to want to be pulling this blue part right here through, because you'll never be able to pull this through up under your actual boat. So what you want to do, find where all these wires come down up under your console. And you're going to pass something through here, and it's going to go up under the boat, kind of right where that light spot's at, what I'm showing you. So we'll come up under here in the back. And if you look down in the back, got some crud down in there I need to clean out, but it's going to come out right there while them wires are coming out. So the most frustrating thing about this whole install is going to be this right here, trying to get that transducer wire in that little canal and run up to your console. But make sure you pass the blue end, for obvious reasons, through this back and try to pull it out the front. So no matter what you want to use, a little bit of fish tape or whatever you're going to use, and try to pull it up through there. But I'll show you how I'm going to do it in a second, or how I'm going to attempt to do it. Hold on. It's up to you how you want to fish this thing through here, but this is how I'm going to try to attempt to do it right here. I got an old tape measure. It won't retract and it's got some kinks in it. So what I'm going to do is cut it off right there at that kink. Electrical tape over the end of it so it doesn't cut anything on the way through. Try to feed it all the way to the back. Once I get it to the back, I'm going to tape that blue end to it inside of this little channel that it naturally has with electrical tape, and I'm going to pull it back through to the front. What I've also done here is gotten some of this Ideal 3/8 inch split flex tubing. That was at Lowe's over in the electrical department. Comes in 10-foot sections. It was like $2 and some change. And what I'm going to do is put that around my transducer wire, because I'm not 100% sure which way to believe, but if you read online, some guys are saying that if you don't put something around the wire, the other electronics will interfere with it on the way back. Either way, I like to protect my transducer wire, so I'm going to put this around it all the way back to the actual transducer and go ahead and pull that through there with it. That'll protect it all the way through, and if you get a fishing hook snagged on it back there at the back, you won't break your wire. And wires are about $100 a piece, so it's worth that little $2 bit of insurance to go ahead and put on there. Alright, so here's the end of my tape. I got electrical tape around it. I'm going to put it down in this hole, try to feed it to the back there at the back of the boat. I'll let you know how it goes. Things never work out how they're supposed to, but this one did. So it took me about 45 seconds. And that jerker went right down in there, slipped on through the back, and popped out right here. So next step, I'm going to go ahead, like I said, and electrical tape that transducer, that blue piece on the end of it right there to that. And I'm going to pull it back through and we'll see how it goes. What I'm also going to do is attach me a piece of twine, piece of paracord on there, and pull it through. That way next time if I want to hook up something else, I'll have me a piece already run through that bottom. Alright, so here it is. I got the blue transducer wire, or end in here, electrical taped up on the inside channel of this tape measure that we've cut off. I got a little piece of blue string, paracord, 550 cord, whatever you want to call it, taped on there, and I've already put my flex tubing on the outside of the wire, and I've got a zip tie about every 6-8 inches or so on down it. And I'm not going to cut these off just because I don't want little sharp plastic things in there cutting on any of the wires. I'm just going to leave them like that. It doesn't look quite as clean, but I think it's worth it, and I don't think it'll interfere pulling it through. They're pretty flimsy. And I'm going to pull it through just like that, going down through there. And hopefully she goes through smooth. Just a heads up, you're going to need two if you're doing it on this same size of boat. You're going to need two of these flex tubes. They come in 10-foot sections, and the transducer wire, I'm not sure how long it is, but it looks like it's about 15 feet, maybe 20 feet, but I'm gonna coat the whole thing in it, so you're gonna need two of them if you got this same model. So I'll pull her through. Alright, we pulled her through. Hardest part was getting it past this back, or I'm sorry, the front right here. You'll see it, all those wires right there, just squeezing it up through there. I ended up having to take this big piece of flex tube. Alright, now we got all the excess stored in that big piece of flex. If you can see, it's all back together clean except for this here. I'm going to zip tie this up, make it nice and clean, and then that blue piece right there is going to have to come up through the top of my console. Now I figured out where I want this, threw a little trowel in there, moving the unit around. So what I'm going to do, I've marked my spots, the 4 corners, in that middle. You can see that little pencil mark. I'm going to use a 1-inch bit to drill that hole. Alright, y'all can see we got the little mount hooked up. I had a, I believe it was a, let's see, yeah, 5/32 bit for the screws 1-inch bit for the main hole in the middle. Mounted it on there, and then she comes through nice. Let's see if I can get this clipped on here. And that's how she sits. Now we're just gonna get the she'll rotate and she'll tilt. Now we're just gonna get the power hooked up, and we'll show you what that looks like. Alright, here we are back under the console. If that'll focus for you. That right there is that data cable we taped up. Now it's just sitting there, nice and clean. Alright, on this end right here, I shot a little blue clip that we've got clipped to our negative. And I believe you can see coming off there, that positive side is hooked to that fuse, which is back here, hooked back around to our power. And you'll see that that power cable does indeed. We've taped up the no connect yellow in there too, right there. That's what that is. That power cable does indeed go back out to the top. And here it is right here. So we're gonna hook her up, plug our battery back, and see if we get power out the top. Let's see. Alright, we got her on demo mode. She's got power. I believe we're good to go. Now all that's left is taping up that excess underneath. Then I'm gonna mount that transducer on the back. But I believe we're good to go up here in the front. Alright, so we got the transducer mounted on there. Drilled two 5/32 holes. Got it bisecting the bottom of the hole. If you can see that right there. I filled the holes with this 3M marine adhesive, 5200. It cost me about 20 bucks for this 3-ounce container of it. And then as I was putting the screws in, I kept applying more and more. That way I get a good seal all the way in. Then I routed the transducer wire right here behind these bolts and zip tied them. That way it's nice and tight. Come over the top, zip tied it to this little wire right here that goes to the light. And that about does it. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Hope it helped somebody out. Y'all, anytime you do a project, make a little video, try to help somebody out. Y'all take care. God bless.